Well, we welcome you to This Is Overtime here on OSN. It is Lever Sage with you and expected to be joined by our Sens insider, Tanner Ryle. A very, very disappointing 4-1 victory for the Carolina Hurricanes over the Ottawa Senators, and we welcome your thoughts on the chat. You can join us on thisisosn.com, on the YouTube page. Just type in Ottawa Sports Now, OSN, and hit us up on the YouTube page as well. The night that Jacques Martin got inducted into the Ring of Honor was easily the most exciting thing that happened with the Ottawa Senators. Tonight, just a little bit of an embarrassment and a little bit of they are not a good hockey team. To think that they were going to compete with this Carolina Hurricanes team. Some people thinking that they were. Now you can hear Tanner Ryle joining us, just making his presence felt by the microphone and everything else. But Tanner's with us now as well. And as I was saying, Tanner, you were there. You're already home, which probably says a little bit. But Jacques Martin night into the Ring of Honor, and I thought it was a wonderful ceremony, like for what Jacques Martin meant to the Senators and the city. And I kind of thought, okay, like here we go. Carolina's been sitting on that bench for half an hour, and crowd's kind of pumped up just because of the Jacques Martin thing. And then what an egg, like just an absolute egg laid by the Ottawa Senators in that first period. 3-0. The Hurricanes led after 1 and 4-1. I just made sure to tune into the end of the game just to hear if there were boos. They didn't stay with it for very long afterwards. So trying to find out if there were boos or not. But half empty, you left early. And just, this is, I don't know why anybody would have expected anything any different.
Yeah. I think on the pre-show, I predicted a 4-1, 4-2 score, somewhere within that range.
Yep.
And we almost left after the first period, to be honest. I think I texted you, like, what's the point? I mean, I've been to, I think, 8 to 10 games this year. I've seen one win out of the Ottawa Senators. And I just knew as soon as they were down, probably by 2, this game's over. And the second period, I didn't see anything that really inspired me. I don't think I reacted too much when Tim Stützle scored. But, it was looking at Ethan and do we really want to stay for another 20 minutes or do we want to go and beat the traffic and be home before the third even is over?
Well, and
that started sounding nice.
You said that you caught the last couple of minutes. Hilarious, actually. Both Chris Cuthbert and Craig Simpson talking about, man, the Hurricanes just so frustrated with the whistles because they just want to get out of here. They got the ice storm coming, their travel plans, like nothing really about the game. It was just, Carolina's taking care of business. Like, when can they get out of here? And man, oh man, oh man. I can't even describe to you the feeling I had when the first goal went in, because I thought, and I went over it probably too much, I thought the line change that they had against Nashville, up 3-1, trying to protect the 2-goal lead, was the worst line change I've seen. And now all of a sudden I have something to compare it to.
Yeah.
And you didn't see the broadcast. They didn't show the high wide because it would have been such an embarrassment for the Ottawa Senators. But they did show a little bit of the Thomas Chabot, who was on, and then realized it was one of those, I'm going to go off. No, actually I'm not. Oh, yes, I am. And then way too late. And it's just so easy. Like for the Hurricanes, it's just so easy. And that's how you start off again with a bad line change, like with an easy 2-on-1, almost 2-on-0 again for the first goal, and it didn't get better. It didn't get better from after that.
I'm looking at the on the NHL website. They've got a goal visualizer where it shows like the numbers of where the players are on the ice.
Mm-hmm.
I see 28, 77 in Carolina have the entire left side of Ottawa's zone all to themselves.
Yeah.
Then I see a 72 Thomas Chabot, a 10 Jordan Spence, a 20 Fabian Zetterlund, right in the bench area.
Yep.
Tim Stützle and Drake Batherson aren't even past the red line yet, and it's a 2-on-0 for the Carolina Hurricanes.
Like, how is that even possible to happen after? Like, that should never happen. But after what happened against Nashville, and then, the second goal, no fault for James Reimer, but then the third goal, lots.
The second goal, you leave Seth Jarvis wide open in front of the net. The defensive, I saw that one coming. So the first one, the 2-on-0, sure.
Mm-hmm.
It was the bad change. The second one, I saw it coming. I was looking at the ice from the overhead view because you can pick up on this stuff when you're up in the 300s.
And
I was just like, this is not good positioning. And then I see Seth Jarvis floating in. That's a good hockey player.
Mm-hmm.
And not a second later, he gets the puck and it's in.
Yeah. So maybe where I disagree with you is I actually thought it was fine positioning, but one of Michael Amadio or Jake Sanderson have to look behind them to understand that there might be a player. And there was a spot, and I paused the TV and I almost sent you the picture of the pass had gone through already. Like it had just been made, and there were 5 Ottawa Senators looking still at the puck carrier, 5 looking at the puck carrier, and nobody looking anywhere else. Like maybe the guy from the corner is going to score, and we all got him. But man, if he makes a play, we don't have anybody.
Yep. Total puck watching.
But this is house league crap. Like you teach Adam kids, or sorry, we don't call them Adams anymore. We call them like U9, U10. You teach U10s.
Yeah, that's not a Travis Green thing. That's not a Mike Yeo and Nolan Baumgartner. That is these players not caring.
Yes, Tanner. Yes. Thank you. And that's the point I was going to make, is that you can say all you want. It's about coaching. It's about strategy. If you don't think that they've gone over and over and over, maybe you watch Seth Jarvis. Maybe watch a guy behind you. 5 guys looking at the puck. They just don't care. And then, a bad goal from Taylor Hall before the end of the period. It's 3-0. And I would actually like to get your feedback a little bit on what you saw, or what the feeling in the rink was. It wasn't Tyler Kleven's fault, but man, did that sum up everything about the Ottawa Senators. They're killing up 5-on-3. Carolina hasn't even really penetrated the zone at all in 35 seconds, and they come in and Tyler Kleven puts it in his own net.
Yeah, and the rink, it was very just much like of course.
I don't know if you saw the replay if you saw the replay on that. It went off both of his skates.
Yeah.
Like it hit his right skate, then hit his left skate, and got through James Reimer.
Yeah, and I don't even think the Hurricanes player was trying to put that on net either. He was trying to make like a breakout pass.
Yeah, he wasn't.
Yeah, like you said, sums up the season right now, and took whatever little air was left. Yeah,
no fight. I'm going to tell you, I had 2 screens going because Saturday night's main event, who I'm still waiting to see just the end. It's actually been quite a good card. Like probably the best WWE card I've seen in a long time.
I don't even know what the matches are, to be honest.
Yeah, hoping Sami Zayn in Montreal can win his shot at the title at the Royal Rumble coming up, but we'll find out.
I mean, I probably would have had better entertainment value driving the 2 hours to Montreal than I did at the Canadian Tire Center tonight. But
yeah. So again, no fight, no pushback.
I saw like a good hit from Kleven and Kachuk, but other than that, yeah, I don't think I can say anything about any sort of pushback from this team.
Well, I can tell you on the television screen, 0. Like you can feel a little bit of pushback when the players are going to care like what's happening.
Did they I missed the third period, so I was listening to the radio broadcast on my way back. And They were saying that they were seeing more pushback, more bodies on net, more chances for the Sens.
Well, that's good.
I don't know if I really get that
that's
impression
good.
or not.
Yeah, that's good for them. I don't whether that happened or not, Tanner. Like I didn't see it, but sure, if you want to interpret it that way, that Carolina was like, we got this one in the bag, and we just want to go home, and we're not really going to press. When teams do that, if you're not able to like get in and get a goal and get something stirred up, the other team could care less about not driving the play and being in the Ottawa, and they could care less. You are not a threat to score.
I was assuming that was the case, that it was just Carolina pulling back. Because, I mean, you look at the stats from this game. Ottawa's 36 shots on goal to Carolina's 19. Senators win 67% of the faceoffs. Power play 0 for 4. Carolina goes 1 for 4. 18 penalty minutes for Carolina compared to Ottawa's 8. Ottawa hits them 34 to 12. 15 block shots to 14. 3 less giveaways. 5 more takeaways.
Yeah, doesn't matter.
Doesn't matter, no.
And
how many points?
Yeah. By the way, the hits. I hope people understand that hits is a category that if you lead the game in hits, you're probably not winning, or you certainly have had the puck less, right? Like when you have the ability to jack up that number of hits, you don't have the puck. So yeah, you can, that stat's a good stat for some things to go in, and whether you're laying the body in the offensive zone and stuff, but I'll show you a team that leads the league in hits, and I'll show you how bad they are. Right? Like they don't have the puck. And again, this is a game that 3-0 in the first period, and Carolina knows we're faster than them. We don't really have to do very much unless they show that they're going to be able to do something. And they never did tonight. Like they never threatened to win this hockey game. And for that, it's just ridiculous to be able to think that this team has no fight in them. And also, if you think back to the Nashville game and in this game, how about 9 straight goals they gave up before they got a goal? 3-0, they were up in Nashville, gave up 5 straight, and then 4 straight tonight before they got an inconsequential goal.
Yeah, well, awesome. I was texting a friend saying in the first period, oh, this one's already over. And he's like, oh, well, they had a real bad run of giving up 3-goal leads. So, you know, it's Star Wars night. Maybe they're going to try a little bit of Yoda and go backwards, and it would go the other way.
Well, for most teams, they say the 3-0 lead's the worst lead in hockey.
Yeah, so he texted me that. He said, yeah, we like to go up 3 or 2, then lose. Maybe Yoda talk helps and it works backwards tonight.
Yeah.
My response was, surprised I would be.
Right. And again, I just don't. This one is not a numbers game that you can break down and go look at the numbers. This is a dreadful line change mistake, down 1-0. Dreadful defensive zone coverage, 2-0. Dreadful goal on the goalie, 3-0. And game over, effort over. Yeah, own goal, which is just, I mean, it's not a fault, but it's a microcosm of what has happened. And I texted you after the first period that Sportsnet put out that since Christmas, through the first period, the Sens have an .839 save percentage.
Sportsnet, that account coming after the Sens a little bit tonight, because I saw them drop another stat that was getting a lot of attention. Tim Stützle has drawn the most penalties in the NHL over the last 3 years combined.
Yeah.
There were a lot of Habs fans in that comment, but yeah.
Well, I mean, he has, and that's good and bad that He's earning the Sens more power play time. He still gets, whether we like it or not, he still gets referees to bite and players go to the box. But it's incredible how much he complains considering he has the most penalties drawn in 3 years in the NHL. You would think, okay, if I'm going to go out there, I'm going to try. Like Connor McDavid has not drawn the amount of penalties that Tim Stützle has in 3 years. Just let that sink in, right? Like, I'm going to guess there's been more penalties on Connor McDavid that just weren't called. So if you are number one in the league, you're doing your job, and heaven forbid that you start complaining after that you don't get the calls, or you're, up 3-1 in the third period and you're complaining to the referees that you don't get calls, which leads to a goal against, and then you take a penalty, which leads to a goal against, and we know how that worked out. So
penalties, Jake Sanderson, 2 minor penalties tonight. That's his third and fourth minor penalties on the entire season.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of the penalty tonight.
They were both high sticks.
Yeah, the first high stick.
One was kind of on a follow through.
Yeah, that was a tough one. It wasn't a follow through on a shot, but it was more
board battle.
Yeah, board battle, and he lifted his stick, but it wasn't. I mean, that's just bad luck on the first one. But so let me ask you, Tanner. I know it's like easy to say this after a defeating loss, and it is Carolina. I don't know how many people would have expected to beat the Carolina Hurricanes. But you also look at the scoreboard tonight, and how about an 8-ball from the Columbus Blue Jackets over Tampa, 8-5. They win that game. The Boston Bruins win again. The Buffalo Sabres win again.
Hat trick for Caulfield.
What a shame. They couldn't come up with a point and a hat trick for Caulfield. But like Florida's tied at 2 right now. Washington's playing tonight. Detroit wins. So you look at the standings now, and you see the Ottawa Senators only above the New York Rangers in the Eastern Conference. And more importantly, you see the Senators 9 points out of a playoff spot. And they would have to jump 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 teams to get there. 9 points out and have to jump 7 teams. Are they done? Is this it? Like,
oh yeah.
Is there a point to even think that they can get back no matter what happens? Like if they go out and beat Vegas tomorrow and then beat Colorado on Wednesday, are people going to be talking about maybe this team has a chance?
I'm sure there will be some people that will, because that's how the online fan base is. But I mean, I'm going to be nowhere near that. I think this season's been over for quite a few weeks now at this point. I'm looking probably around that Utah-Colorado game is, I think, where I personally mailed it in on this season. Like, barring a crazy historic run at this point, it's over. Like, there's no coming back from this. You can't get past that many teams. You can't have that insane of a run. Something is going on in this locker room. I am pretty convinced at this point, because this team can't come together. They face any sort of adversity. They tuck their tail between their legs. There's no fight. They just float out there, Lee. Like,
right.
How can you believe right now?
Well, I don't think you can. And I think it's very clear that if there isn't anything going on in the locker room, then they should be even more embarrassed about their play. Like, because of the lack of fight. When people say that they're not trying, of course people are trying, but there's no pride, there's no effort there. When things go bad, as you said, there's no coming together of this team. They go their separate ways. And it looks like that on the ice. That's not I'm inside the locker room and I know. That's watching facial expressions, effort, guys not on the same page. I mean, honestly, 2 of the last games, line changes on a short line change causes you major drama. Like, I can't even imagine what Travis Green is thinking. I really just have no idea what he must be thinking. Because yes, the goaltending has been, in your words, apocalyptically bad. I just say that because I'm impressed that I can say the word. So when I am able to get that word out, I'm like, oh, look at you, Lee. Good for you. But yes, they've had incredibly bad goaltending. But the shocking thing is it's not just about the goaltending. It's about bad line changes and that defensive abomination in their own zone with Seth Jarvis scoring.
Yeah, like we talked for so many weeks that goaltending was the Achilles heel that is holding this team back. They go out, they sign 37-year-old James Reimer, and then they leave him out to dry for how many games in a row now?
Yep.
Like, this isn't on Reimer, this loss whatsoever.
No.
Maybe he wants one of those back, but
he wants a third goal back. But what would tell you about this team had any chance to come back after the 2-0?
Yeah. And how does this team look at this 37-year-old? We're like, oh, here we go. We got this guy now. We can just relax and not try out there. It's James Reimer. This team should be playing like they have David Ayers in the back, like the Carolina Hurricanes did a number of years ago in that game. Like, good God, what is going on?
Yeah, there are way more problems right now than just a bad goalie or a bad this or a bad that. There are huge problems with this team that are bigger than one game, one player. I thought it was interesting tonight. Bad night again for the Leafs on the scoreboard tonight too. Not to bring the Leafs into an Ottawa discussion, but man, the Leafs are 5 points back of a playoff spot now because Buffalo and Boston just keep winning.
I think Buffalo's going to make it.
Oh, let me put it to you another way, and I was just going to talk about Buffalo. I'm going to tell you right now the amount of teams that have more wins than the Buffalo Sabres, okay? This whole year. These teams have more wins than the Buffalo Sabres. Detroit, Tampa, Carolina, Boston, Colorado, and I'm done. That's how many teams have more wins than the Buffalo Sabres this year. Yes, Buffalo is going to make it. And think about how dreadful they started. Right? And had to go on, this major run after December 1st. But right now, there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 teams that have more wins than the Buffalo Sabres in the National Hockey League. So the next time when you see Buffalo in Colorado and you think, oh, there's a dud of a game, it's actually a really good game.
I mean, Buffalo, the San Jose Sharks have more points than the Ottawa Senators right now. That's one that blew my mind when I realized it. The San Jose Sharks are in a playoff spot in the West. They're in the second wild card.
Yep.
They're sitting here with a 26, 21, and 3 record for 55 points.
And yes, Ottawa is better than some teams in the West, but they're only better than the New York Rangers in the East. And
in the West, they wouldn't even be in a playoff spot. They'd be 2 points back alongside the Kings and the Kraken.
Right.
But that's still 2 points back. That's not in a playoff spot. And who cares? You all know the saying, if my uncle had a finish it.
Yeah, the good for you. Yep. Way to go, Tanner. Ethan is in, just back from the drive. This season is over. It's unbelievable that the Senators hear Jacques Martin talk about how much the team and coaching, how much he cares, then go out and lay an egg and show no effort. While Ethan was there, the ceremony was awesome. I thought Jacques gave a great speech. Wasn't too long. I don't know how you found it in the arena, but man, I thought it was as good as you could do. They didn't drag it out. They didn't have 18 people speak. But
yeah, actually, I really enjoyed it. My only problem was the fans kept clapping in the middle of it. Just like, I think Jacques got a little tired of it too, because he kept trying to speak over them and they would cut him off halfway through the speech.
Yeah.
But sometimes I thought when he was talking, it was great.
Sometimes that's pressure on the person who's speaking, knowing that, okay, like you got 7 minutes.
Right.
like
I also really enjoyed, just as another aspect of this game, the Star Wars stuff was very well done.
So I was just going to ask you, like, on some positives, the off ice.
I thought the lightsabers were an awesome visual. I'm not sure how that came across on TV.
Did you get one?
I did, sitting right here.
Okay, very nice.
Yellow glow.
Yep, and the visual did come across very nice on TV. Love it.
Yeah, so handed these out. We got there at about 6:30, and they were still handing them out too. So I don't know what that tells you about how many were available or what the attendance was tonight, but pretty nice. I mean, it's no Luke Skywalker lightsaber, but that sits on my desk. But as a Star Wars fan, I enjoyed it. They had the 501st Legion, who does a lot of charity work in the Ottawa area, were there with their costumes on. I saw Darth Vader and Stormtroopers and Ewoks, Tusken Raiders, Jedi. There was a very special bell ringer tonight as well. And it was Emperor Palpatine.
Oh, wow.
In the full costume. It was pretty cool. And then the intro video they did was really well done too. It was like the Star Wars intro with the text scroll. Mm-hmm. It was cutting between players and clips, and a few of them had lightsabers. Yeah. If you like Star Wars in the sense, it was very well done.
See, that's awesome. And that's where some of the disconnect is too, because what they're doing like off the ice and some of the things that have turned around in this organization, like getting Jacques Martin into the Ring of Honor and how they handled that Star Wars night, well done. And there's just such a disconnect from then the product that goes on the ice. So 17,155 were announced. I doubt it was that full, but that was the announced attendance. On the attendance, Ethan says the Canadian Tire looked pretty full during the first period. I kid you not, a sixth of the Sens fans had left after the first period. Many more leaving during the second. Spoke volumes to me. I get you, Ethan, to comment on the third period, but you also weren't there.
Yeah, we weren't the only ones walking to our car at the end of the second.
Right.
I'll say that.
And look, I feel bad about this, but they're right in the middle of like season seat renewals and coming out with new campaigns and asking people, because this is the first year I believe that they're going to do some auto renewals. And
they did have it last season.
Oh, did they? Okay.
Yep.
And so either people are going to be getting notices that their seats have auto renewed, or they're on the campaign trail to get season seats, and it just couldn't be coming at a worse time. Because I don't know what you believe in. And that's the next question I have for people. What do you believe in for next year? Like, because in my opinion, this team is not one move or two moves away.
Yeah, so I've already got my email for my seat renewal. The season seat auto renewal will begin on February 2nd. That's when people can start deciding if they'd like to keep their seats or not. And between now and February 2nd, you've got the Golden Knights, the Avalanche, the Devils. Maybe there's a game on the second too. I'm looking at my calendar here.
I know they
drawn
play
by Gavin Giroux.
I know they play Pittsburgh, Carolina, and Philly after that before the break. But every team, there are no teams anymore, folks. But it's like no more Rangers coming and no more Vancouver Canucks. There are no more teams that you look at and go, oh, well, at least we'll get a win there. Like none. So what do people believe in? Like, what do you believe in, Tanner? If you're a Sens fan, like going into next year, like if they could just do this and this. Because right now, I don't know. I guess where I would start is saying, for me, regardless of the off-ice stuff that's happened in the last week or two or the lack of fight or whatever's going on, I look at Steve Staios and I say, Steve Staios really hasn't taken any criticism in this market yet as the GM.
I think it's been starting online.
Yeah, well, that's I was going to say. If it hasn't started already, it should, because Steve Staios left this team with no goaltending as the general manager. He had a goalie in there that was a terrible goalie before he left on the ice in Linus Ullmark, and he had zero backup plan, and he left this team in a big hole. He also put a defense core out there of whether it's Nick Matenpalo and Jordan Spence and Jensen on a bad hip and rushed him back early. No answers on defense because they really, other than Jensen's hip, haven't had that many injuries on defense. Shabbat was out for a little bit of time. But this, I have always said, this is a bottom 10 defense score in the league. I don't care what the analytics say. I don't care if the team's playing like better defensive hockey 5-on-5. This is not a good defense score in the NHL. Period. I don't personally think that Jordan Spence or Nick Matenpalo or Nick Jensen could make any other NHL team. I don't. So they have 3 guys in their 7 that I don't think could make another NHL team. That's my opinion. And other people might have different opinions, but I don't think that this is a very good defense core. So now you have a bad defense core and the worst goaltending in the league. Well, that's on the GM. And you also made a trade to get the guy on the bad hip here and traded away one of the best defensemen in the league, a guy that will be up for the Norris Trophy this year. You traded him away. And everyone excuses it and says, well, it just wasn't working. It just wasn't working here in Ottawa. It wasn't a great fit in the room. Well, how's the room now? Room good? Everyone's happy? Everyone's happy in the room now? Because the GM traded him away. And what moves has Steve Staios made? I mean, you can talk about the Dylan Cousins, Josh Norris deal. It's a good deal. Not a great deal to me. Because Josh Norris at his best is better than Dylan Cousins, but the availability certainly outshines most of that.
He's made one trade this season, which was an absolute nothing one. Maxime Gannett for Dennis Gilbert. Where are either of those guys right now? On a team that's floundering. I mean, you could pick apart the Chikrin one for sure. Even the Allmark trade doesn't look great right now. I mean, first round pick Dean Letourneau doesn't look like a stud by any means, but give up Kastelik in that. Korpisalo would be an upgrade on the current goaltending situation.
Not giving up your pick last year?
That's a big one to me. Well, especially just looking at that overall draft class and looking at where Logan Hensler is sitting right now.
And looking where they're going to finish. They're going to be a bottom 10 team. They're going to be in the lottery.
Yeah. And you know what? I'll say the Carter Yakimchuk pick. I like his NHL future, but You know who's playing in the NHL right now? Zeev William.
Right.
You know who else looks pretty good? I don't know. Zane Perek, Sam Dickinson. A lot of these players that were on the board when they were up for that selection.
Right.
With that same amateur scouting staff that has not changed a whole lot since the old regime. You look at the Fabian Zetterlund move.
Just going to bring it up.
This team, like you picked apart the goaltending and the defense. You forgot the forwards. They are probably one, maybe two forwards short of having a legitimate top six in the NHL.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it would be a great year if they had their first round pick because they'd be bringing in a top end guy.
Right.
I'm not saying they're going to win Gavin McKenna, but Stenberg, that'd be a pretty good consolation prize. Keaton Verhoff looks pretty good. I mean, it's a pretty top heavy draft.
Yeah. You just can't take yourself out of things like that. The reason I give them a bit of a pass up front is because, you know, you look at goals for this year and you go, oh, okay, well, you know, they have more goals than the Penguins and the Capitals, and you know, they scored 167 goals this year.
You're welcome, Zach.
Oh, that's look who's in. Z Gibbon. That's Belleville Senators defenseman Dennis Gilbert. Thank you very much. Nice to hear from you, Z Gibbon. Z Gibbon, can you give me an update? Did Sami Zayn win? I had to come on and talk about a terrible National Hockey League team after I was very much enjoying Saturday night's main event.
We could just talk about that instead if you want.
Yeah, but the thing here is why I'm willing to give them a pass is because you do look and they are scoring some goals this year, and you know they do have some talent. Are they a forward or two short? Yes. Have they put, like, very rightly so? I'm glad you brought up Fabian Zetterlund because I just still haven't seen this promise. He was another -3 tonight in 11 minutes.
I saw a comparison today for Zetterlund, and I don't know if I like it or necessarily am there quite yet, but someone's saying they remind him of a Matthew Joseph.
Based on what, though? Like the style of play, or just that they're not producing anywhere near top 6 levels?
I would assume the latter, because remember when Joseph came in, he looked really, really good, and they signed him to that long extension, and frankly, he never looked the same after that.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if I'm quite that low on him, but yeah, he's not the player that they hoped he would be.
Well, what he's doing is getting lots of opportunity, playing with good players up front, and showing right now that he is not a top 6 forward. That's what's happening.
Right.
Maybe it changes, and maybe he gets better, and maybe he finally starts to get going. But how long has he been here now? A year?
Pretty close. And what more do you do with him at this point? You've tried him with Stützle. You've tried him with Cousins. He's down with Pinto now.
But, well, yeah, I wouldn't even say down with Pinto. I mean, Pinto's a hell of a smart player. Imagine being on the same line as Tim Stützle and not producing. Like, at some point, he's just not going to produce.
Right. And where he's supposed to get a top 6 forward right now without a first round pick, with nobody available on the UFA market aside from Artemi Panarin, who is not coming to Ottawa.
So again, I'll ask you, like, if you are a season seat holder, but like, where's the optimism? What is it that you need to see that this team is going to be able to compete next year? Like, why is it going to be different next year? And that list is getting longer to me of the questions that need to be asked of this organization, of why you believe that you're going to be better next year. Because right now, as you said, I don't see it. They don't have a first round pick. If they get one, it'll be at the very end of the first round, and it will not be in the top 10. They don't have a guy in Belleville that's going to come up and be a difference maker. Carter Yakimchuk really struggling right now. There isn't anybody on the horizon in Belleville. Like, yeah, Stephen Halliday's a nice player, and maybe he can contribute to the Sens. I'm cheering for the guy. But this is not a, don't worry, guys, we have Stephen Halliday down in Belleville. Everything's going to be okay as soon as Stephen Halliday gets here. Those things are not happening.
No. You have your first round pick. Maybe you are feeling that way, but you don't. Again, if my uncle or my aunt, whatever you want to say.
And so, as you said, you have Carter Yakimchuk. You'd hope that he would be there by now. He's not. Logan Hensler's nowhere near the National Hockey League. And you don't have your first round pick this year. I don't know where the optimism is. How are you just going to magically turn around the goaltending and the defense? And get those spots up front. Yeah, exactly. Uh-oh. Here's Ethan trying to solve the world's problems again. I think there needs to be some consideration into a sports psychologist. There's a belief in this court that they can't win when they're behind. I genuinely don't know how to fix that. First of all teams sort of have that at their disposal. Ethan, this is not a new concept. And again, while I appreciate the fact that you're reaching, Justin Peters or changing, I mean, you finally got your wish on changing a coach or two with, Mike Yao being in charge of the penalty kill now and Nolan Baumgartner's out. This stuff with sports psychologists and goaltending coaches, and man, if we switch up who's in charge of the worst penalty kill in the league, everything's going to turn around. It might be the players, Ethan. It might be the guys on the ice and not the coaches.
I mean, again, you look at the goals tonight. Bad defensive coverage, bad line change, own goal, bad goaltending. None of that is on the coaches. Justin Peters isn't the one that has to make that save. Mike Yeo isn't the guy on the ice that is staring at the puck instead of covering his man.
Right.
What are they supposed to do? Is the psychologist going to cover Seth Jarvis in the offensive zone? I don't think so.
Or make them care afterwards? Probably not.
No.
It's such a bad look right now for this team because they look like they've checked out. Mentally, they look that way. And look, if some of the guys haven't, that's great.
Let's see it.
I'm just telling you how it looks because I can't see it. I don't see any fight. I don't see that level of we're embarrassed. And now you just look at the standings now and you say, like, I don't know how people are going to get past. Like, they're behind the Columbus Blue Jackets. And Columbus is saying, man, if we had only beat Ottawa twice, if they had beat Ottawa in the two games, I think they've played them twice. I know Ottawa.
Yeah, they're 1-1. Remember, that was the night we were hoping to see a little bit of pushback from the captain.
Didn't they play them again
after the Toronto clubbing?
Point?
I think it's just the two meetings so far between those teams.
Okay.
We had last week, and then we had, or this week, Tuesday night, and then the one after the Toronto game.
Yeah. But you also see the teams, and this isn't rocket science, but you also see the teams and what they're doing that are in the playoffs and making like important stretches before the Olympic break. This is not a conversation we're just having in Ottawa. This is a conversation that every team is having. Big push towards the Olympic break. Put yourself in a position, get the break, come back. Detroit, those frauds, the pretenders, 8-1-1 in their last 10. And incredibly, I know they've played more games than Tampa. In fact, they played 3 more games than Tampa. But the Red Wings are in first place in the Atlantic Division, ahead of the Tampa Bay Lightning. The Detroit Red Wings are 32-16-5. So, while I've heard them called frauds on this show, I would not agree. My whole point: Detroit 8-1-1 in their last 10. Tampa 8-1-1 in their last 10. Buffalo 7-2-1. Carolina 7-1-2. These are all playoff teams, and you wonder why they're playoff teams? Because they're playing hockey properly at the right time to set themselves up going into the Olympic break. Pittsburgh 6-2-2 in their last 10. Boston 8-2 in their last 10. All of the teams that are currently in a playoff spot have better than 500 records over the last 10 games. Ottawa's 3-5-2. See, this Ethan. You need to bring stuff like this more. Nobody except Ben disagrees. Lee. You're right. Maybe I was just talking to one guy. You're right, Ethan. We all know Detroit's decent. Okay, so Ethan, you've heard me. Z Gibbon, you've heard me. Other people listening, Tanner, what is your optimism towards next year? Why the Ottawa Senators are going to be better?
It's not a lot of it. That's for sure. I mean, I think you have to look a little bit at the team from last season and see what they did. You probably start there. You hope that Allmark is back in the next week or so, maybe even tomorrow night. You hope he starts playing better. And I think you look at the pieces that they do have in Sanderson and Stützle, especially, that are a elite number one center and elite number one defenseman. And as of right now, Brady Tkachuk still wants to be here, as far as we know.
Ethan's saying that he's already chimed in on this. If this is what you call optimism, Ethan, I didn't realize that this was your optimism. Stronger goaltending from Allmark. Why? What is it that you think is going to be different? Likely an NHL backup will be acquired.
Not this season, I don't think.
No. And if they don't do something with that, that's not optimism. That's like disregard.
Yeah, like if we're sitting here at training camp next September and we're talking about a tandem of Allmark and Marilainen.
Yeah.
That's a bad look on Steos. Yeah.
Yeah. So
and I was going to say, maybe it's time we don't have a president of hockey operations and a general manager doing the same job. But that's a whole other conversation.
He also believes there'll be a change on the bench, whether it's Green or an assistant coach.
Green's not
so Travis Green isn't getting fired. I can tell you Daniel Alfredson's not getting fired, and Mike Yeo's not being fired. So, not that I think the other guys are either, but if you think the optimism's coming from Nolan Baumgartner not being here anymore, that's where your optimism is coming from. That you hope the guy who's being paid $8 million is a better goalie. You hope that they go get an NHL backup and an assistant coach isn't on the bench. That's where your optimism lies.
Lee, you're telling me Peter DeBoer isn't coming to Ottawa? What?
Well, Steve Spott's not available to be his assistant, so anywhere he goes.
And you hope they get that first back.
So
you hope Michael Andlauer's calling up to Gary and puckering up real nice, because that's probably what it would take.
One of the things that, so Jacques Martin's sitting there saying like this, the front office cares and the organization cares, and they're actually closer than you think. Man, I wanted to believe that, Jacques, for about 2 minutes until I watched the team on the ice. That was disheartening. I don't think they're anywhere close.
And again, it's crazy to see the Montreals, the Buffaloes, Detroits, who the last maybe 3 or 4 years were laughing down on, saying, ha, we're further along in our rebuild than you are.
Mm-hmm.
Those teams have all leapfrogged Ottawa, and I don't think you can argue that right now.
No, they have. All of them.
Yeah. And they still have players coming into their systems who will be impact NHLers. Detroit's got one of the best goalie prospects. So does Montreal.
Mm-hmm.
You think of guys like Hage, who just looked incredible at the World Juniors. Like Ottawa doesn't have that. Carter Yakimchuk is projecting to maybe be a second pair defenseman if he can get past the AHL right now. Nobody's coming. You don't have your first round pick. And these teams are all better than you are with more reinforcements on the way, and they're in your division.
Yeah, I mean, it's easy to be bleak after another game like this, but I don't disagree, Tanner. Like, I look ahead and I say, why is this team going to be substantially better? And like, how are they even going to bridge the gaps to the teams you talked about? Detroit, Buffalo, Montreal, Boston, who everyone at the beginning of the year thought Boston was going to be just at the bottom of the league.
I thought so.
Well, I think many did. Well, they're not.
Pittsburgh as well.
Yeah, it's another team. The one team I thought that would be up there, what is good for them that they have played less games than a lot of the teams, but man, Florida's got some work to do. Now they do have 3 games in hand on Montreal and Boston in the wild card spots that they're trying to catch, but they are now 7 points back of a playoff spot with defending Stanley Cup champions.
And maybe it's that fatigue catching up to them after quite a few deep playoff runs. They're without their MVP. Kachuk is still definitely not up to speed. I've seen him get clobbered a few times in the last couple of nights.
Mm-hmm.
So a little surprising. I still think they're going to make it until I'm proven otherwise. But yeah, it's definitely a team to watch, I think. But if anyone can pull a trade off out of nowhere, it's Bill Zito.
Yeah.
You don't think they're looking at Artemi Panarin right now?
So I do, like, I'm trying to think of where the optimism is going to come from. Because you can't really do a full retool or rebuild right now with some of the players that you have, because the Bradys and the Tims and the Pintos, you're not going to go through a full rebuild with those, like, even if those guys stay.
It would have to be a retooled, or I know that's more of a common phrase, it seems now. General managers are a little afraid to do the full teardown thing.
Mm-hmm.
But maybe it's best for this team. And I don't think that would include moving out Sanderson or Stützle, or maybe not Pinto. But you think Drake Batherson wants to sign a contract here right now? He's up on July 1st. Or up for an extension, I should say.
Yeah, he's not up. He's up for an extension. You can talk to him.
Right. And then Brady,
but why would he sign? But why would he sign right now? Unless you're going to overpay him.
Right.
And then I wouldn't be overpaying Drake Batherson. He's not a difference maker.
No, and how many winners does he go and train with in the summer that are probably inspiring him to do the same?
I'm going to tell you, I didn't notice Drake Batherson on the ice at all tonight.
There's not a lot of players I did notice tonight, Lee.
Well, he specifically I did not notice. I noticed some players for the wrong reasons, but Claude Giroux went 12-1 in the face-off dot too.
Yeah, they had a good night in the dot, but doesn't matter.
12-1, yeah.
It's not a game of face-offs. Otherwise, the Senators would be the Cup champs right now.
Yeah, they'd be good. They'd be really good. But to me, this is definitely going to. Did I put that back up by mistake? No. This is definitely going to involve a couple of players. I think that people are going to be not shocked by, but. And to me, it starts with what can you get for Claude Giroux?
I mean, you have to ask him if he wants to go for sure. Just out of respect for the player. Maybe he doesn't. Maybe he wants to stay in his hometown and
no chance.
Go off into the sunset. But I think Claude Giroux wants to stay.
No chance.
Especially a guy that got a taste of that Florida culture a couple of years ago.
Man, that guy is going to be such a difference maker for somebody. And when he gets into an atmosphere of how different it will be, like let's say he goes to Montreal and the atmosphere that it'll be like, and playing for Montreal and getting swept up in maybe a playoff run He might not be done at all. But I can tell you, I don't know that I wouldn't think he's long for Ottawa right now. Like, I think you're looking at the last couple of weeks of Claude Giroux being an Ottawa Senator.
That breaks my heart because he's given everything he's had while he's been here. And
Yep.
it's a damn shame if Claude Giroux doesn't retire an Ottawa Senator, and that's on the organization. Because this guy came to you and said, I want to be a Sen. I want to finish my career here, take this team to a Stanley Cup, and you failed Claude Giroux.
Yep. And then once he leaves, do you think the room's going to get better? No.
Oh, he's one of the glue pieces holding that room together. He's probably been the best leader that they've had the last number of months.
I would agree.
They should be begging him to stay.
Well, I'm sure they would, but why would he?
Right.
He's at the end of his career. He wants a chance to win a Stanley Cup, and he wants to play important games. Well, he's
38 years old.
He's not going to do that here.
He's 38 years old. He's got maybe 3 chances left to win a Stanley Cup. And what team wouldn't want him at that cap hit either?
Well, he's in everything a playoff team would want to solidify their team. Hey, we think we're going to make a run to the Stanley Cup and we can add Claude Giroux to our team. Like, that's like, he won't complain. He's a true pro. He'll win almost every draw he ever has. He'll do all of the little things for you. And he doesn't have to be like the guy. He can be like that piece that kind of fits in at the end. Teams would be dreaming to have Claude Giroux on their team. But it might come down to, if he only wants to go a couple places and they have the ultimate respect for him, they might not get as much.
We saw it with Tarasenko.
Yep.
He said, I'm only going to Florida.
Yep. Ethan says, I will have optimism on this team again if Claude, for whatever reason, signs an extension. Okay. That's Ethan. Took you another 40 minutes, but you know what? Now you've come up with something that I can go, yep.
Yeah. Or if the deadline passes, I would assume if the deadline passes and he hasn't been moved, then he probably does want to finish his career here. Maybe there is some of that, you know?
Mm-hmm.
He's local. His wife's from the area.
Oh, yeah.
Maybe he does just want to ride into the sunset here. But
and
Claude Giroux seems like it's entirely possible. But to me, just having that outside perspective, Claude Giroux seems like a guy that wants a Stanley Cup before he calls it a career.
He's too intense a player, and he still has what it takes. So imagine you're Claude Giroux, and you do want to stay in Ottawa, and your family's here, and you're comfortable here, and everything's good. But you know you have a year or two left, and you actually have something to give. And then you can go to a team that's going to give you the chance to be a part of that run. It's my thought, and knowing been around a lot of players, usually, because you've done this your whole life, usually the desire to win at the end trumps I want to be home, because you can be home in a year or two. And you only have this for the rest of your life. You only have a couple of years to be able to give something that other teams are going to want, and that you're going to be able to be an effective player in the playoffs. I don't think people work this hard their entire lives to give up on chances at the end. And if Claude wants to go, and if he wants to stay, good on him. If he wants to stay, great. He's come to terms with that decision. It's just my experience that most guys realize they only have a year or two left. I still do have something to give. And he clearly does, right? That's the thing. When you watch him play, if you're another experienced team, would you like Claude Giroux in your lineup for the playoffs? It's like an automatic yes. Like, there isn't like, I don't know if he's going to fit it. Yes.
especially at potentially $2 million, $1 million if they retain the salary. Who wouldn't want him? Like,
Well, for this year, it's going to cost them, like if you trade him near the deadline, it literally is going to cost you about 500 grand on your cap.
Yeah.
Right? Like a quarter of the season to bring him into the playoffs. So we can get a player that wins every faceoff and is a true pro and will fit in seamlessly and has tons of experience, and we can get him for 500 grand on our cap. Yes, please. There just isn't a team out there that wouldn't take him.
No.
So you'd have to wonder if the rebuild starts with him, the retooling, whatever you want to call it.
I don't think, it wouldn't be a full rebuild.
Yeah.
Because they're not trading Sanderson and Stützle. They're not going to bottom out and try and get a lottery pick.
So you're right. But whatever you want to call it, the vast improvements that need to be made starting next year starts with Giroux.
And I would say I'd even take it further and maybe say another core piece has to go if that's the route you're going.
Well, it starts with Giroux because they're going to do that in a couple of weeks, right? But to your point, for me, there's probably two guys. I'm only not talking about Sanderson or Stützle. I would listen to anything else. Because the Brady thing is Brady doesn't have to be playing well. Somebody will overpay for Brady Tkachuk if you wanted to trade him. Somebody will.
I think regardless, you can't deny that his contract's a time bomb. Every day we get closer to that thing ending, and this team hasn't shown him any reason to stick around here. And all he has to do is look at his brother.
He got 3 years left?
Yeah, I believe so.
You're checking on that? But when a team calls and they want Brady Tkachuk, you can ask for a ton. Like you can ask for something that you don't think that you would get back, and you still might come close to getting that. Because if teams know that Brady Tkachuk is available and there is a little bit of a bidding war for Brady Tkachuk, what teams might do to get him?
It's Worsley. He's got 2 years left after this one.
2 years left. So for Brady Tkachuk, that's interesting, actually. Because there might be more of a rush to do something with him now. So because Brady Tkachuk has tons of value to a team that gets him for the longest period of time. Like if somebody gets Brady Tkachuk for 2 full years, he's more valuable, right?
And who is Brady Tkachuk very good friends with? Who recently was in a similar situation? Quinn Hughes.
Well, yeah. No, I don't disagree. Quinn wanted to go home and go home. Quinn wants to go play with his brothers. Does Brady want to go play with his brother? What about Matthew? How many? What does Matthew have left?
He's got to have more because he signed for 8 whenever they got him.
I didn't think it was that big of a difference because you wonder about both of them like going home to St. Louis or something.
Oh, he's got 4 years left.
After this year?
He's in his 4th year, so.
Of an 8-year deal.
Yeah. So he's got another 4 years at.
He's got another 4 years left. Yeah.
9.5. What a deal.
So.
And hey, if Brady becomes available, you don't think Florida is all over that?
Mm-hmm. What they might have to give, I don't know, but
I don't think there's a lot that they wouldn't give up to unite those two on their roster. Probably starts with anybody minus Barkov.
All I know is from an Ottawa Senators perspective, I'm not Sanderson and Stützle to me are the only guys. There isn't anybody else. And I don't think you can be so like you can't have a really bad team and go, yeah, we're gonna get a lot better, but we're gonna protect these 5 guys or 6 guys. It doesn't work that way.
It's like we're gonna trade Jensen and Eller and Perron and Jensen, and we're gonna get Philip Peronic.
Yeah, of course.
And whoever else.
Claude Giroux is also surrounded by all his family in Ottawa. That plays a bigger role than we might put stock into. So I don't disagree. I think for his wife and his kids and the family you have around to support what he's doing is a huge deal. I put a ton of stock into it. What I would also tell you is that I put a ton of stock that Claude Giroux has gone through multiple surgeries and been a hockey player his entire life. And he hasn't won, and he has something to give. And maybe he says, I want to go play in Montreal because it's still close to my family. Maybe there's other teams that are close. Wait for it. Imagine Claude Giroux going to the Buffalo Sabres.
I thought you were about to say Toronto.
I know. No, I wasn't going to. No.
No, I don't see that one happening. But Buffalo, yeah. Why not?
Imagine
they might have some interesting pieces too.
Well, exactly. And imagine the experience that Claude Giroux would bring to a relatively young, but now on a roll Sabres team. But who else, like for you, would you seriously consider trading Brady Tkachuk?
I don't want to have to, but I mean, just knowing what he could bring back and the fact that, hey, if that contract was up in July this year, he's probably not extending. And I think just the value you get back, I'd be listening.
Why would he ever sign if he were up this year? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. What have you shown him? 1 playoff run in 9 years where you got bounced in 6 games.
Mm-hmm. And we're down 3-0. And yeah.
And he's going to cost a lot too. Not that he shouldn't, but like I don't know how you don't listen.
Mm-hmm.
And there's other players I'm sure that are going to garner interest as well. I mean, the teams are going to be calling Staios right now with them at this point in the standings. Like, you don't think people are calling about Batherson? You don't think people are calling about Pinto?
Yeah, and what's happening right now, and I can tell you from a ton of experience, what's happening right now are those calls are not being taken seriously, but they are being taken. And what I mean by that is pretty much call me back in a couple of weeks.
And we're going to start seeing some of the media posting those lists of, oh, here's all the scouts that are in the building for tonight's game.
Mm-hmm.
And we're going to see the list in Ottawa start growing because they've got some pieces and a lot of these other teams are going to be poking around at them.
Just pulled up the best records in the National Hockey League since December 1st. Who do you think's in the top 5?
Colorado.
I'm talking about points, right? So
points, okay. I know Detroit is in the top 3, I'm pretty sure.
Number 1 in the National Hockey League. Since December 1st, the Red Wings are 19-5-3.
Is Colorado up there? I mean,
yep. Of course they are, because they've just dominated all year long. They're number 3.
Buffalo.
Number 2.
Boston.
Yeah, number 7.
Not bad. Montreal.
Number 4. It's like I have the list in front of you.
Might as well go through the Atlantic Division almost.
But this is the point. Red Wings, Sabres, Avalanche, Canadiens, Penguins, Leafs, Bruins. Top 7. How many teams are in the Sens division? Oh,
8, including them.
Four of them? 4 of the 7? Red Wings, Sabres. No, 5. Red Wings, Sabres, Canadiens, Leafs, and Bruins. 5 of the top 7 teams in the leagues in the last 2 months in Ottawa's division. But the Red Wings and the Sabres have been the 2 best teams in the league, ahead of Colorado in the last 2 months. So this isn't like a week, right? Teams go through stretches, so they play really well for a week, 10 days, maybe 2 weeks. But the bottom is the same as anyone, right? Like it's crazy. I just think you really have to open up your mind now if you're a Sens fan and say almost everything's on the table here. Because I don't know how they're going to get Tanner Spit like a lot better if they don't do something significant. Like, how is their defense core going to get significantly better? You can go out and find a goalie probably for not that much money. You don't have to give up a ton to go find another capable NHL goalie. You can go and get one, and it's not that big of a deal.
You know what? Maybe it's time that you stop looking at this year as an outlier and look at last year as an outlier.
I do. Yeah, I think I do. How can you not?
Yeah. And I'm interested to see like if this team does lose against Vegas tomorrow, does lose against Colorado on Wednesday. When do we see that first shoe drop and what is it?
Yeah, I think it's going to be Giroux. Like as a significant piece of the room, but I don't know. I don't know how the team looks back at their goaltending tonight and goes. Again, I'm not blaming James Reimer. We let in a bad third goal, but just look at your bench and look at your guy in goal and go, we have James Reimer, who's played all of 5 NHL or 5 games now this year. And the guy backing him up, Hunter Shepard, we don't know like anything about and looked very small when he was in. And that the team called up Mads Sogard today.
Yeah, that's certainly a conversation to have is who's going to be in the crease tomorrow?
Yeah, I mean, it's to me now, I don't know. Are they sending Hunter Shepard back after this game? Like,
No.
I would think that they are. I would think Hunter Shepard would get sent back. He just needed to be on the roster until after the game. If they've already called Mads Sogard up.
Yeah, because Sogard wouldn't have made it to Ottawa before game time to like back up or anything like that.
Exactly. So my guess is that
is.
Hunter Shepard's down and that Mads Sogard will start tomorrow. And Ethan had mentioned in the chat that the Belleville Sens that Levi Merrilainen had a 40 save shutout tonight.
Had to play well. I mean, there's nobody there to back him up if Sogard presumably left there. Parsons isn't up with them. What do they do in that situation? Like, what happens if Levy got hurt? It's like,
where's our Belleville insider?
Yeah. Well, they weren't even in Belleville tonight.
Well, I know, but the Belleville insider, Z Gibbon.
I know, well, what happens there? Is there some university kid that wants to come be the e-bug? So I know that's how it is for the NHL. That's
precisely what. So I'm just going to look at the game sheet here. Yeah, Samuel Best was the
I wanna see
backup
this. Let's see his
tonight.
elite prospects profile. Samuel Best, NCAA, aka Sam Best.
AKA Sam Best.
I believe he plays for the Mississippi Seawolves of the FPHL. Or no, that was last season, sorry. I don't even see another team listed 25-26 except for the Belleville Sens. But his best was playing for UMass Boston and NCAA Division III.
So he was on the roster this year of the PD Ice Cats of the
Okay, yeah, I'm seeing that now on Hockey UB.
of the Frontier League or the Federal Prospects League. But to your point, this is an e-bug guy.
Yeah.
Okay. No wonder Maryland played like can't let that guy go in.
Doesn't sound like the team played overly well in front of him either. I mean, they only won 1-0.
Yeah, 25 shots they had. Springfield had 40. Of course, Maryland was first star.
Hey, good for him. Hopefully he does find his confidence back. Don't know that you would bother calling him up at this point.
No, I think for what happened to him here and the players who, and Sanderson talked about it, right? He regretted it a little bit of some of the comments that he made, and he's just frustrated, which you don't blame him. And I don't think people really blame Maryland. They blame the organization. The players do, because the players understand that Levi Maryland wasn't supposed to be the savior, wasn't supposed to be the guy that was relied on to keep them in it. And they probably feel bad for him. But I don't think bringing Maryland back up now is a good idea. Just go down and let him play. Let him play a game against Springfield with Samuel Best as his backup. Right? And just let him play.
Yeah. Will be interesting to see if they do send Shepard down, though. I mean, I think you do have to wonder if we see Allmark.
No,
just based on the practice. I don't think we see him, but
no, I don't either. I think Mad Sogard, especially not after tonight, because again, you have to do what's best for Allmark too. And if I'm watching the team, I'm like, so terrible line change caused it like a almost breakaway goal, and then some terrible defensive coverage caused another goal. Why would I put Allmark in the way of that either? No, I would now put good money on Mad Sogard will be in goal tomorrow.
I mean, how did he look in his one showing this year?
Well, he looked okay. I think did they have a shutout win on Friday night too? The Belleville Sens? I know he got the win.
I don't know. Where's our Z Gibbon at?
Yeah. He's like, check the internet, guys. It's there for a reason. No, they lost 2-1 in a shootout to the Providence Bruins. No, in OT.
Trying to see if we have any quotes yet coming out of that post game. Not quite seeing anything yet. Interesting quote from Scott Arneal, though, from the Winnipeg Jets, ripping his team apart, saying, quote, "That was one of the more embarrassing performances in the last month. All of us, that was an embarrassing game. Called his team's play tonight soft and classified it as pond hockey." Is that the type of response we need to see?
They gave up, I believe, 4 goals in the third period in that game. They lost 5-1, right, to Detroit. And the Red Wings scored 4 third period goals.
Oh, seeing some Travis Green quotes now here on my feed from Claire Hanna. Quote, "I think we carried a lot of the play tonight.
Oh my God.
I thought we gifted them 2 goals, probably the first and third goal on routine plays for us that are usually a strength of ours. I thought they were mental mistakes." Whether you're winning or losing, we've done a pretty good job of just processing the game and getting ready to play the next one. That's all you can do. That's sport. You're going to go through adversity. How you handle it decides your fate.
Yeah.
Everyone's going through adversity at one point in time, and we're going through it. We got to stick with it. What has this team shown against adversity?
So again, that is a very frustrated Travis Green trying to say the right thing. And it's not coming across that way because we can all see through it. Like, that's what it is. Travis Green doesn't feel that way. But he has to say something, and he's trying not to say bad things. So he's saying these cliche after cliche things that nobody believes. Sorry. Like, I know, and reporters shouldn't be like calling him out on that because you ask the coach what he thinks, and that's what he thinks. But it's quite fair to sit here and say that Travis Green does not believe what he is saying there, and he is just trying to say something to get away from the podium. And I'm pretty sure if Travis Green was here right now and you got him away from a camera and a microphone, he would say the exact same thing.
Give him a little truth serum.
Yep.
And see what he thinks.
I don't blame him. Like, I think you said it a few games ago, like he had a chance to kind of pick a spot and fire the team up, and he chose not to do it. And I don't know how many more chances you get. Like, he's obviously looking at this and going, well, it's not the right time or place to do this tonight because we got a game tomorrow, and like they're already down on themselves, and Matt Sogard coming in, and they're not going to have much confidence in him, and like he's doing something to not push them further down. Because when you do those things, you expect a response and a fire under them, and maybe he doesn't think that this is the right time for that. But I would think about doing it after next game if they lose against Vegas and they show poorly, because then you have a couple days to sit around and think about it and have a practice and get ready and all that stuff. But the reason that Scott O'Neill said all of that stuff in Winnipeg is because they had actually been pretty good over the last month, and they were starting to climb back in it. And probably sees, a home game tonight that was really important to them to think about trying to get back in it, and they threw it away. So some frustration for sure. But yeah, Winnipeg only had 3 losses in their last 10 games in regulation. Mm-hmm. So they had been playing some better hockey, but obviously needed a really good stretch. And when you go out and you really need a good stretch, that happens. 4 goals in the third period. It's a tough one. So again, not a good night here for the Ottawa Senators, and not a good night on the scoreboard. I think we're almost past the scoreboard watching at this point. I think there was a time where it mattered what the Buffaloes and the Bostons and the Leafs and Detroit and Montreal, they were all doing. I don't think it matters anymore. Because until this team shows an ability to like string some consecutive games together, I just don't know. So for the Ottawa Senators, going into before the break, they have Vegas, Colorado, New Jersey, Pittsburgh, Carolina, and Philadelphia. So 6 games left. The next 3 at home, including tomorrow, Vegas, Colorado, New Jersey, and then on the road in Pittsburgh, Carolina, and Philadelphia before the break. And even if they went 6-0, they would not be in a playoff spot. So imagine they go 6-0 which is the best they could possibly do until February the 26th. As we sit here on January 24th, the best possible case scenario is that the Ottawa Senators would have 65 points. And that will not have them in a playoff spot. But to even think that they could beat any of the good teams right now, we keep saying it, right? Like, what would make it
2 this year? Vegas and Tampa. You can maybe include Washington if you really want to, because they were in a playoff spot at that time. But yeah, this team hasn't shown anything beyond that.
Well, and look, one of those games was the first game of the year. I don't like just to say like we beat a good team and it was October 9th, and like, sure. All right, Tanner. I'm glad you made it home for the post game. You know, you had lots of time. That was good.
Yeah, it's a nice quiet drive, easy way out of the CTC parking lot.
Yeah.
Didn't even miss a single goal. It was great.
Got to see all of it. Got your lightsaber.
Yeah. Get fired up. Back at it again in 17 hours. I will not be going to that game.
As the Ottawa Senators take on Vegas. And that will be, oh, yeah, there you go. And that will
I got a little bet for that game that I'd throw some money on.
A bet? Okay.
Mark Stone, 2+ points. Vegas money line.
You like Mark Stone at 2+ points, eh?
He's buzzing lately, Lee, and you don't think he's got this game circled a little bit still?
You think so?
I don't know about circled, I guess, but I mean, big part of his career was played here in that building.
Yeah, meaningful.
I believe he does still frequently come back to the area.
Mm-hmm.
Possibly lives here. I think his wife is from the area. Probably has some family in attendance. I think he'd circle it a little bit.
Just so you know, Sami Zayn won. And Sami Zayn will get the shot.
Get excited.
I am excited about that. Apparently you're not.
I haven't watched a WWE show and I can't tell you how long.
This wasn't bad tonight. They actually did quite a good brawl segment with Cody Rhodes and Jacob Fatu, who never got the official match underway, but then brawled through the arena. It was one of the better brawls I've seen in a long time. And then at the end, it was great because Drew McIntyre came in and absolutely like destroyed them both. And he could, because it was never a match in the first place, because they were just brawling around the entire arena.
So a 4-match card became a 3-match card?
Don't be like that. Be like the first 20, 25 minutes was something. It just wasn't an official match. Ripley and Io Sky beat Liv Morgan and Roxanne Perez. It was decent. It went on a bit long, but it was decent. AJ Styles beat Shinsuke Nakamura, and they really made it seem like Styles is on the tour of saying goodbye, because he and Shinsuke did the same pose at the end that they did in New Japan all those years ago with the fist bump and the arms extended. And they were both kind of crying after the match. Is Styles really going to leave next week? Well, maybe. If he does, I'd be excited to see if he would go to AEW.
Oh, I'd love that.
I think it's more and more a possibility. I really do.
Especially for a guy that was like, yeah, this is my last year. He's going to be done in February.
I think he wants to get out of Dodge and see if he can go there. But who knows? Maybe they hold on to him till WrestleMania. I think that's also a possibility, that he somehow stays through WrestleMania. And maybe he loses this match where he has to retire, and Gunther pulls him back out of retirement to face him at Mania, something like that. But Yeah, and then Sami Zayn won the 4-way. The Montreal crowd is so great. Like, to a fault, like Randy Orton comes out and they sing his whole song. I don't really care for that, but the support for Sami Zayn was like off the charts good. And I'm kind of looking forward to the Royal Rumble. I am. Be interesting to see what they do there. All right, Tanner, I'll talk to you tomorrow night after the game. The football day tomorrow. Who you got?
I don't even know who's playing. So
Come on.
I have no idea. I have no idea.
The New England Patriots are in Denver to take on the Broncos, and the LA Rams are in Seattle to take on the Seahawks.
I'll take the Rams and the Patriots.
Oh, see, there you go. That's.
Is it I do good?
Well, I don't think people know, right? Because Denver lost their quarterback, so they have a backup quarterback starting in an AFC championship game, which is like really bad. Jared Stidham has hardly played at all. So, but you never know. Their defense is really good. And it's not like New England's like so great that Denver's got no chance. And then I think the Rams and Seahawks is one of those divisional bloodbath games to see who's going to go to the Super Bowl. I think it's going to be great. So, but we'll mix in some Vegas Ottawa talk tomorrow, okay?
Yeah. I don't think we need to do a pregame.
No, I don't think so. I think after the game we'll be just fine.
You got a score prediction? Because I know we won't have a chance to do that tomorrow.
Yes, I do. 4-3 Ottawa. Tomorrow.
6-2 Vegas.
See there.
See you guys tomorrow.
There's the negativity in Tanner. That way, we need more of this. None of this we stuff anymore. It's them. They suck. All right. Thanks very much. I appreciate you getting home and being a part of it. Sorry you didn't have a great experience at the rink, but you got your lightsaber and you got it on the show. So that was good. Thanks, Ethan. Thanks, Z Gibbon, for being a part of it. Other people tuning in, and we'll be back after the game tomorrow night, the Ottawa Senators and the Vegas Golden Knights. We will talk to you then on OSN.